My 2007 Chevy Suburban has had a small oil leak ever since I bought it last year. I think the fix is going to be pretty easy. Let's take a look at what it is. So we're taking a look underneath the Suburban, and in particular, we're looking at the bottom of the engine. You can see the oil filter over there to the right. So the thing that's actually leaking is the gasket that's behind this cover right here. But before I try and change the gasket, I'm going to drain all the oil out of the car so that it doesn't come out when I try and remove that cover. Now that the oil is drained out, I'm going to take the filter off since I'm going to change that anyway. It'll give me just a little bit more room to work under here. Now that the oil filter is out of the way, I can get a 10mm wrench on these bolts and just loosen them up. And actually, that one actually seemed a little bit loose. Maybe that's part of the reason why this thing was leaking. Okay, there's the first bolt. There's the second bolt. So as you saw, the cover popped right off, but now I've lost it somewhere over here. So here's a look at the cover with the original gasket. It actually doesn't look too bad. And I'm starting to wonder if I just tighten up those bolts, if this would have been okay. But I've got the new gasket already, so I might as well change it. So I'm just going to use this knife to get behind the old gasket and pry it off of here. So now I'm going to clean the residue off the mating surface of this cover to prep for the new gasket. So I'm just going to use this old Scotch pad that I have to kind of scrape that off without damaging the surface here. And there's the engine side of where the cover mounts after I've cleaned it up with the scrub pad. Now hopefully it looks okay. You guys can actually see it better than I can. So here's a look at the new gasket. I think this thing was less than $5 on Amazon. Here's the part number that works for my 07 Suburban. If you're thinking of trying this, make sure you look up the right part number for your vehicle. But I will leave a link to this one in the description in case you want to check it out. And here's a closer look at the old gasket and the new gasket. The old gasket is thicker and has sort of a rubber O-ring. The new gasket is quite a bit thinner than the old one, but it is sort of raised up on one side here. So when everything is tightened up, it should crush down and make a good seal. So I've put the gasket on the inside of the cover, and I've got one screw here just to hold everything together while I try and work this thing up here. The drive shaft is sort of in the way here, so it's a little hard to get things started, but now that I've got a few threads caught, I can spin this up and bring in the other bolt. You guys actually have a better view of this than I do, but I think I've got this started now. So now I'll just bring in the wrench and tighten this up. I'm sure there's factory torque specifications for these bolts, and I recommend that if you're doing something like this on your car that you follow those specifications. But I don't have a torque wrench that'll fit in here for these bolts, so I'm just going to do this by feel. Now that the cover's in place, I can put in a new oil filter. Now I just realized I usually like to fill these up with oil before I put them on, but I got distracted by the camera. So I guess we'll be okay for this time. I'm going to grab a rag and some brake cleaner. I want to clean off this oil residue that's under here, just so that it's easier for me to tell whether or not this thing is still leaking after I fill it with oil and run it for a day or two. I spray this stuff on the rag and not on the actual surfaces here, because brake parts cleaner can be detrimental to other seals and gaskets and stuff, so I don't want to create more problems than I'm solving here. So I just got back from a little ride, got the engine nice and hot, and everything looks dry under here. I'll keep an eye on this for the next few days, but I really don't expect to have any more leaks. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to learn more about my channel, check the description down below. Thanks for watching.